Dave Jones here again. I'm going to just take you through is the next level of reading rhythms. If you've been through the reading tab and rhythms and you've got a few chords and you've done a few bits of strumming, it's just a different take on how you read the rhythms that are shown on up on the site on some of the tabs, and would help you if you're learning out of guitar magazines and books and such like, and you want to learn how a rhythm actually what it sounds like, and you've got your tab underneath, or you're strumming a chord on that rhythm, or you want to strum a chord on that rhythm. Just a different way of, in some respects, like getting that rhythm nailed, if you like. So what I'll do is I'll show you a quick close-up of the PDF, and then I'll carry on with the lesson. Now this is the PDF I'm working from. It's Reading Rhythms 2. It's in the Essential Basics section of the website. Now what I've done here is I've written this. You've got your 4 beats in a bar, and then you've got crotchets, as we discussed in the other the reading tab and rhythm lesson, and then you've got crotchets written. This is the way they're called rhythm slashes. These are note specific, so these are all on the these would all be an F note, but I just put them down there. Just these are notes that you would have tab underneath or tablature underneath on various. Well, in this case, it will all be on the same note, but. And these are the crotchets, and these are the same things shown as rhythm slashes, and this is the way that you would show maybe a strumming pattern. So where you count this 1, 2, 3, 4, you would count that exactly the same 1, 2, 3, 4, but strummed downwards on each one. Then you've got quavers. This is shown as like you would have tab underneath. These are like notes, musical notes. This is how quavers are shown as rhythm slashes, and this would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, or down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then what we move on to is these are called quavers, and you get 16 of these in a bar of 4/4. And again, these are what the notes look like, and they would have tab underneath, and these are what the rhythm slashes would look like, and you would strum down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, all the way along to the end. And then we've got, I'm going to go through these in a different method in a minute. This is a quaver joined to 2 semiquavers, and the note specific. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, that would be how they were counted, and these are exactly the same things shown in rhythm slashes. You strum down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, and then you can obviously, well, you can't if you're new to the guitar, it's perhaps not obvious. You can have them the other way around. So these are 2 semiquavers joined to a quaver, and these are how they're shown in. Just get in the shot there, sorry. These are how they're shown in rhythm slashes. And lastly, in this particular lesson, we're going to look at a thing called triplets. And they're 3 quavers joined together. They're played evenly where 2 would normally be. I'll explain a bit more about that in a minute. And what they do is they have a 3 written above them, and that's how they're shown in rhythm slashes. And a lot of this is explained on the PDF, but I'll just take you through it and a long shot and show you the idea. Okay, so I think it's really important for you to know what rhythms sound like. So eventually, hopefully, you can look at a rhythm and you know what it's going to sound like without actually counting it and that sort of thing. It's quite hard sometimes to, especially when you first start getting used to these rhythms, to count and play at the same time and get all the notes right with this hand, or if you're strumming, to think what's that going to sound like, what direction do I go, down, up, down, whatever. So one of the easier ways of learning rhythms is to have a syllable, because, for example, if you're reading a book, assuming you've been reading for a few years, you don't look at the word "the" and think, well, that's a T and H and E. Obviously, you do that when you first start reading, but you don't do it after a while. I don't know what it is. You recognise the shape, or you've just seen it so many times, you know what that word is, and as you read the book, you're reading words that you just recognise in shapes too. And sometimes that can be put specifically to rhythms, like, for example, if you've got the PDF there, the crotchets in the first 2 bars, the rhythm slashes and the notation, they sound like any one syllable word, like T. So strumming wise, T, 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 4 down strums. The quavers, if you were strumming along to them, which are at the end of that second line, they sound like any 2 syllable word, down, up. So coffee, 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 coffee. It can be any syllable word that so you start to recognise that what these words are going to sound like. The semiquavers that are shown below, they sound like any 4 syllable word. Caterpillar. Down, 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 down. The next line down with the quavers joined to the two semiquavers, they sound, I use the word, or used to anyway, because after a while you kind of get to know what they're going to sound like as soon as you see them. They sound like dum diddy, dum diddy, dum diddy, dum diddy, dum diddy, down, 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 dum diddy, dum diddy. And the ones where the next line down, they sound like diddy dum. So diddy dum, diddy dum, diddy dum, diddy dum, down, 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 down. So what you're trying to do is create this sound, so you know what that particular thing's going to sound like if you see it in a strumming pattern. Or if you're reading tab, you do exactly the same thing with the tab underneath. You get the rhythm first and then you play the notes afterwards. And finally, sorry, the triplets down the bottom, the ones with the three above them, they sound like any three-syllable word, like rock and roll or apple pie. So, if you're strumming, or again, you clap the rhythm, ba, 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 if you're going to play tab to those particular note values. And that way, when you get to mix them all up, if you had, say, for example, a crotchet followed by 4 semiquavers, and followed by a triplet, followed by a crotchet. I know that what you do is you go, say, T, caterpillar, triplet, T, caterpillar, triplet, T, and you just try and create that strumming pattern or that melody, like the rhythm, and then you play the rhythm, whether it be the tab, you're playing single string things, or whether it be a strumming pattern. So that way it's quite a nice way of getting the strumming patterns that are written out if you're reading from a notated sheet. Some of the strumming patterns that are up on the site are from Rhythm Slashes. I've explained in various videos you don't have to keep the strumming pattern exactly the same, it's just a way of strumming. But sometimes you do get things where you have to strum to a specific rhythm that's notated underneath. So being able to read these rhythms is quite a useful idea. So I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you again sometime.